Alright guys, what is going on? We're going to be looking at our official first 2022 to 23 winter forecast here. We have plenty of factors to talk about, as well as other aspects to this outlook. And that way you will shortly find out what to expect for this upcoming winter. And it could be quite a crazy one for some of you guys. So why not get started? So we're going to be looking at our La Nina map. So we see that variable polar jet stream swinging into the western, northern, and eastern United States. So I'm going to highlight that. So across the United States, it's going to be swinging across the northwest into the Central Plains, Ohio Valley, and back through the northeast. So we're going to be looking at that. So colder air conditions are usually expected across northern plains during a La Nina winter. Weather conditions across the northeast northwest and portions of mid-south Ohio Valley, Midwest regions. Drier conditions across southern tier, warmer conditions across southeast. So now we're going to be looking at our SST forecast for sea surface temperatures across the Pacific, which is basically given whether or not we'll be seeing La Nina, which we are. So we're about right over here. Where we are around 1 degree Celsius below normal. So La Nina is anywhere half a degree below normal Celsius or even lower than that. So, and trends do have it climbing up as we head into the winter. So we'll be getting out of La Nina probably even during the second half winter or something like that. So it would be right about February, March so. And then it'll continue to rise through the spring, passing that 0 mark. And then we're going to be seeing that potentially climb even further, possibly going to be bringing us back into El Nino conditions for the summer and fall of 2023. So right about here. And then we're going to also check out some of the models, see how all that goes with everything. So here we are with the models we've finally been talking about. So we're going to look at current runs and the runs that were about a week ago. So right now we're mostly warm across the nation. Maybe some cooler anomalies in the northern tier where we mentioned could have the highest chance of below normal temperatures. And that would especially be in the later half of the winter though. But they really seem this week to have those higher anomalies across the Texas area and surrounding areas. Now for precipitation models, those signals are pretty mixed right now, with various areas of drier than normal and above normal conditions expected throughout the winter though. And I feel like part of that towards later on is because eventually that La Nina is going to start to break down as those sea surface temperatures in the Central Pacific warm up eventually compared to average. Now they seem more confident in where those areas are highlighted about a week ago. So yeah, drier than normal, especially early on across the south. Above normal across the rest of the nation. Now I still think my zones are reasonable, basically because of this that we're seeing. That was about a week ago. But yeah, I'm going to continue looking at this. Just get a better idea of what to expect for the next forecast, which is me coming soon. I'll give it a specific date later on. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the temperature outlook here. Now, what we're doing expecting here is typical of La Nina pattern, where we do see those cooler than normal temperatures across the northern tier, warmer than normal conditions really elsewhere across the United States. And the farther north you go towards the Canadian border, it will get colder than normal. And then towards south, it gets even warmer. So that's the case here again this winter, it's looking like. At least that is according to the current model guidance, which we basically just saw. So those higher anomalies can be close to the border, but especially here across the northern plains in the upper Midwest for those cooler temperatures, and then the warmer temperatures, we're going to see those orange as higher anomalies. Now, pretty much every other outlook you see throughout this video, do expect changes to that in another outlook. Now, we'll give more on that later on as well. So this typically correlates well with the drier outlook, which we'll get to. And in fact, we're going to look at it right now, actually. So yeah, here it is. What are the normal conditions across much of the northern U.S., especially northwest and the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes area? So those higher potential in the darker green. Sorry to see what this color, but I'm going to try my best. I know I can. So yeah, in those circled areas, Great Lakes, northwest, that's where we see those higher potential for wetter normal conditions. And typically in that case, that also leads to a snowy winter. And this is an outlook which will at some point be updated. So this general region. Now, with that corresponding wells above normal expected, we see those drier conditions across southern tier, especially Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana coasts. That's where we see that higher potential for those drier than normal conditions to invade the southern tier of the U.S. So, snow outlook. Yeah, northern tier is going to be snowier than usual. Okay, this is potential. Never mind. So less snowfall across southern than half the U.S. The dividing line right about here. Between those above and below normal snowfall potentials. So it could be really snowy with blizzard snowstorms potentially coming through across the northern tier. But again, this is just the first of what's to come. So do keep in mind though, there's gonna be changes in another outlook, which won't be too far from now. I'd say like a couple of few weeks so. And I'm sure we'll get some active weather in by then. But here's our overall outlook. So let's start with the northwest, where we do expect a wet winter. And then moving forward to the east across the northern plains and portions of the northern Rockies, where we do expect some snowy periods overall, especially the potential for some blizzard snowstorms across this general region here again. And then moving forward to the next dry zones. So yeah, we see that warmer and drier normal conditions the most is going to be highlighted across the southwest and into Texas, where those conditions are less anomalous compared to normal, I'd say. I just highlighted that region in the dry winter zone. And then across the middle of the country, expanding to areas along the east coastline, we do expect some wild swings with the winter weather times. And what that basically means is there's going to be potential for all kinds of weather, really, such as rain, ice, snow, even some severe weather times. That's especially going to be fixed here across really anywhere east of this line is where we see that severe weather potential. And depending on certain outcomes, it could really be bounded off by this line, or really anywhere in this general region. Now, moving forward to our southeast region, where we do expect some warmer conditions. We'll be dry early, but we'll start to get wetter later on. And yeah, part of this is probably going to be because of the La Nina conditions are beginning to fade at this point. And that will continue into the summer of 2023. Now into our main zones here, so get excited. Now Purple region, which is across the northern plains, Missouri Valley, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, and also parts of the Midwest. We do have that cold, main area of cold, which is me really to our north in the pink zone, which we'll get to. But of course, we'll see some occasional snowstorms as well in that Purple region. Of course, track's gonna vary, but that's where we see those higher snowfall totals compared to normal as well. We'll also see some cold blasts occasionally biting across the region, most likely, as well as pretty much everywhere in the northern tier, maybe except the northwest, but I'm also not going to rule it out. So on to our final zone, where we do see the highest potential for those Arctic blast snowstorms. It's going to be more fixed on the purple region, the pink region. which is, yeah. So that's going to be the Great Lakes, upper Midwest, and into the inland regions of the Northeast, close to the border of Great Lakes. And what that means is we're going to be potentially seeing some biting Arctic blasts, which means we could really see a few sub-zero days across much of this region this winter. And we could also see some major snowstorms as well. But I don't want to go like too far on this just yet. And this is really like gonna be the first call on Moon Outlooks. And really, I'm just gonna say this now. But we're gonna have, but there's uncertainty in what's actually gonna be coming. But based on the current outlooks, this is what I put out. And of course, we're gonna be seeing some changes, like I said, and like which will be published to this very channel at some point. I would have to say like early October is when my estimated time for this next winter forecast will be. But here's the overall perspective on what we could be seeing for this upcoming winter. And then this is first thoughts. It's gonna be changed again. But like I said, there are no guarantees or anything. So if you enjoyed today's forecast, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and liking this video so more people can get to this forecast. And stay up to the latest of information on the weather as we do report that. We're done, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe.